Nearly a century ago, a German immigrant named George Beyer wrote a small amount of material about ellipses in the stock market. While he was the first to actually write about the ellipse in markets, W.D. Gann alluded to it in his master courses when he said, "There is an inner and outer circle which proves the fourth dimension in market movements." That's one way to construct an ellipse. He also showed the two circles on his square of 9 chart. Charts 2A and B in Cowan's book Four-Dimensional Stock Market Structures and Cycles showed the ellipse in the 1991 daily chart of the Dow Jones. These same patterns are still forming in all markets. When Cowan was trading in the early 1980s, there was no software to easily draw ellipses on charts. So he printed them on clear overlays to lay on his hand-drawn charts, a very laborious process. Now Cycle Timer can easily do this in seconds. Using the same Russell 2000 chart we used for lunar cycles, select the Ellipse tool from the left toolbar. Find an easy-to-identify interval on your chart. This same interval and integral multiples of it will repeat throughout the chart. To edit your ellipse for proper size and orientation, click the Select button on the left toolbar. Then, click the middle of the ellipse to select it for moving, rotating, and resizing. Select the ellipse again. Click the Clone tool on the left toolbar. This will make an exact copy of the ellipse with axes parallel to the first one. Then drag it to another interval and rotate it as needed. These two ellipses are mated pairs as Cowan described in his books. Each of these ellipses are exact clones of the original, and most of them have parallel or nearly parallel axes. You should not need to adjust their length or width when you have found the correct interval. Notice how the minor axes represented support and resistance until the outer perimeter was reached. Then prices accelerated to the terminus of the ellipse. When the terminus was reached, prices often moved sideways for a few days until the outer perimeter was breached. Then a quick trend reversal followed. Look for multiples of your ellipse during larger moves. The most common are 2 times, and the musical fifth ratio of 3 to 2. Let's first delete everything from our chart except one ellipse to avoid clutter. Select the tool from the left toolbar of the item you want to delete. Then click the Delete button to delete them in the reverse order they were drawn. There are several ways to draw an ellipse that is half again as large as the original. One way is to put 2 identical ellipses end to end. Then increase the length of one to the midpoint of the other. The proportions of this larger ellipse will be the same as the smaller one. When drawing the larger ellipse, be sure to offset it slightly from the original to make it easier to select and move later. This new larger ellipse can be moved and rotated into place on the chart. Notice how clones of this larger ellipse also repeat during the downtrend. To understand why price support was found at the February lows, we need to zoom out to a larger view. First, clear the chart of all drawing elements. Then adjust the lower price axis scale in the Graph control. Right-click the chart and the Select Axis tab. Enter 800 in the lower y-axis range and exit. Then change the chart to weekly from the drop-down menu. This will show the chart for the last 5 years. Select Price Ratio Lines from the left toolbar. Click Format from the upper toolbar. Choose the Fibonacci ratios of 0.38, 0.5, and 0.618. Click OK. Now drag your mouse left to right as shown. The two declining ellipses dropped right down to the point 382 support line. If you found this video useful, please subscribe below to be notified when new material is presented.